Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the main channel. Now, as you can see today, we're going to be ranking each content specific update within the big three of the tower defenses. So what that means is pretty much we'll be going through, like, for example, all three of the games had a Demon Slayer update. So we will be ranking their Demon Slayer updates and seeing which one's better, which game is providing the better update per show, right? Per content, right? Now, with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the summer ends. And not only that, if you like hearing me talk, I got my Twitch and second channel in the description as well. With that being said, let's get straight into the video. All right, and to kick things off, we're going to get started with the Anime Vanguard's release. And I'm going to talk about all three of them first, then rank them to make things simple. And as you can see with other updates, there are multiple for one. And that's because the games decided to do something different for these shows, right? So first, we'll talk about the Anime Vanguard's release, which came out last out of all three of these, so it definitely had the advantage in that. There was definitely a lot of bugs when the game came out. The game did not have much to do at all. It had like 3 story stages, and that was it. And yeah, that was pretty much the game at that point, right? Then you had Last Stand, which had a horrible release filled with so many game-breaking bugs. I would like to mention the Vanguard's ones weren't necessarily game-breaking, and if there were any, they got fixed relatively quickly. The Anime Last Stand released, however, had some pretty bad game-breaking bugs, so that ruined that. The original ownership for Last Stand was terrible as well, so it kind of threw the game into the dirt as well. And with Anime Adventures, I mean, it was pretty much the second tower defense on Roblox ever, and it was kind of its own thing. It wasn't very similar to ASTD. So, not much to really say there. Now, with that being said, Last Stand is easily going to go last. Yes, they had one of the biggest rosters. No, not even. The characters weren't even all that great that they had. A lot of the units were summoning weren't good. And the best units you can get, you had to pay for. So, yeah, not really a good release. Unless, if I'm mistaken, I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure you had to pay for the Gohan drip. I could be wrong, though. He could have been summonable. But anyway, with that being said, next we would go into our second place, which will be Anime Adventures. The only reason why this doesn't go higher is because it was the first game to really lay out this framework. Like I said, it wasn't similar to ASTD whatsoever. So, yeah, they were the first to do it. Not really much to say there. Obviously, there wasn't much content in the game, but that made sense. Vanguard's is going to go first just because it debuted way later than the rest of them, so it had way better graphics, way better models. But yeah, nothing special. I mean, none of the releases were anything crazy, so that's what we're going to leave it at for that. All right, next we have the Demon Slayer updates. First, we'll start off talking about Last Stand. Last Stand introduced a couple things, not anything too crazy, honestly. They introduced pretty much only one decent character, that being Rengoku, but he was relatively easy to get as long with they added portals with it as well, and they added 2x speed to other modes, right? So I'd say pretty okay update, right? And then you have the Anime Vanguard's Demon Slayer update, which was absolutely terrible. There was nothing really good about it. I mean, they added raids, I guess, but yeah, not much good to say there. And then you had the Anime Adventures Demon Slayer update, which all coincidentally, they all did the Mugen Train arc. I know AA did another one, which I probably should have included, so that's going to be my bad. But, yeah, since they all did Mugen Train, I decided to just do those 3, and they're pretty easy rankings. The Last Stand one's going to go first because it added portals, which were fun, and it added a meta character that lasted for a very long time. Vanguard's is going to go last. Honestly, horrible update. So many people dropped the game because of it. Terrible update. And then next we will have the Anime Adventures one. It wasn't anything crazy or anything spectacular, but it wasn't horrible either. All right, next we have the JJK updates, and we'll go through, first of all, with Anime Adventures. This update was massive for the game. It added Infinity Castle, it added dungeons, it added a lot of limited units, and they added trading for the first time as well, which is going to make this update fantastic. I mean, this update shaped Anime Adventures, right? Next we have Anime Vanguards, who, honestly, this update was, again, pretty bad. They had one decent character. I think Toji was okay too, but he's not really seen anymore. And other than that, the update felt rushed. I mean, the units they added were okay, but this update dropped with characters that couldn't even evolve yet. And then it took them months to add one evolution. I may not, that might be an exaggeration, but it took them weeks to add one evolution to the game, right? This update came out completely unpolished. Also boring. It was just a legend stage grind. Who wants to do that? And then we now we can talk about the Last Stand one, which the Last Stand update didn't add much. This started the anime spoilers. They had a bunch of spoilers in this. Also, real quick before we get into that, going to the Anime Adventures one, I didn't include the dungeon one. Although if I did, I think it would probably rank the second highest out of all these, and it would. We're just gonna imagine it's in the Anime Adventures one anyway, because it's relative to the ranking as well. But anyway, with the Last Stand one, they added some units that were okay, I guess. They added a new godly, which was Sukuna, which was really good. They evoed JoJo, which was really good as well. And yeah, the rest of the units are okay. They added a trading system, which is trash. And yeah, not much else, to be honest. So this is going to be pretty easy ranking. AA had the best JJK update. Vanguards had the worst. And Last Stand had the second best. All right, next up we have the JoJo updates that each game did. So Last Stand had 2, AA had 2, and Vanguards has 1. And we're starting off with the newest one in Last Stand, which was in September. And this added some decent stuff to the game. It added a lot of spoilers, which I honestly hate when these games do that. It's called Anime Last Stand, Anime Adventures, Anime Vanguards. There shouldn't be manga stuff in it. Now, I get Last Stand updates like every week, so they're going to run out of characters. That's a little acceptable. But the fact Vanguards did their JoJo's update on something that wasn't even announced at the time is a little ridiculous, if you ask me. So I'm already saying that's going to be negative points, because the anime game should not have manga stuff, in my opinion. But moving on, or continuing, I should say, with the Last Stand update for JoJo's, the newest one, they had a lot of manga spoilers in it, so I'm not a big fan of that. But they introduced a lot of really strong units like Giorno. They added a new godly who was limited in Dio. Yeah, Diavolo is also good. The rest of them, okay, right? Honestly, they didn't add too much other than this. So, yeah. And then next we have the other Last Stand update, which is the last update, I believe, before the ownership change. This is a pretty terrible update, I'm not going to lie. There's not anything good about it, if you want me to be honest with you. The best unit was, I believe, a code unit. So, yeah, pretty terrible update. Then we move on to the Anime Adventures update, well, this is the newest one. I'm going to swap these because I have the other one pulled up right now. But anyway, the first JoJo's update they had was Stone Ocean, and this update was great. I believe this was the first update with a Battle Pass. So it was the first game to introduce a Battle Pass system. It also came with a meta unit in Amelia, which I know is not a part of JoJo's, but it came in this update. And yeah, it also introduced a new mechanic with Poochie as well. So that is pretty cool. But then we move on to their other one, which is, where is it? Their other one, which is a raid update, which introduced Kira, Koichi, Josuke, and Rohan to the game. And it added a bunch of unique abilities, right? Like Kira's ability was very unique. Koichi became the best slow for infinites. Josuke had a very good stun with a lot of damage, and Rohan had a unique ability that I don't think has been in any other tower defense yet. So with that being said, this is going... Wait, did I talk about the Vanguards one? Oh, I don't think I did. My apologies. We'll get to the Vanguards one now, which they did a Steel Ball Run update. You know, brand new update, and this update came with nothing good. This was also a pretty terrible update. They didn't even fix that many stuff. This game has like 30 bugs at least with every update, and they barely even fixed any for this, right? And this was another raid, of course, even though they just had one. And they did 4 characters, all of which were spoilers, of course, and all of which suck. I don't understand how you're going to drop an update. These characters are still the worst in the game. The base game characters are better than this. So, yeah, overall terrible update. So, I'm going to start with the Vanguards one and just put it in last. This update was terrible. I don't even know why they did it to begin with. But yeah, and then we'll move on to Last Stand, which is going to take second. The newest JoJo's one wasn't bad. Of course, filled with spoilers you didn't like, but the first one was so incredibly terrible that it has to go into second. And then, of course, that would leave the Anime Adventures JoJo updates taking first. Overall, very solid updates with nothing wrong with them, other than the grind for Evoing Poochie kind of sucks. All right, moving on, we now have the Fate updates, which it's kind of surprising they did so many. Again, I feel like Vanguard's anime choice is a little weird. They've yet to do some very popular ones and are doing stuff like Fate and Steel Ball Run. And I get JoJo's is very popular, but again, Steel Ball Run, not animated. Sorry, not to talk about that again. But let's move on. We'll talk about Last Stand, which this is their newest update that literally just dropped 2 days ago. So I can't say the most about it, but just from looking at everything, I thought they had one new shiny. That sounds stupid. They added a new godly, of course, that being Gilgamesh. And they added a bunch of story legend stages, stuff like that. I can't really say too much about it because it just dropped, so I haven't really been able to experience it that well. But from what I know, it hasn't been anything crazy, right? So moving on, we have the other Last Stand Fate update, which had a Gilgamesh, Saber, Archer, and Lancer. And this update honestly didn't really do anything. They added new lobbies, which actually not that great if I'm remembering correct. Oh no, this is the other one where they did this. So this isn't the newest, this is the last one. Still not that great, not the biggest fan of it. And they added world skippers, so not that much, but yeah. Next we had the Anime Adventures one, which also did more world jumpers. They added new daily missions and stuff like that. So yeah, but the units they added were very good. They added Gilgamesh. They added Lancer, Saber, Archer, and a few others, right? Overall, solid update. It was a portal update. The grind was pretty long, but it was worth it because Gilgamesh was one of the best in the game, right? And then last we have the Anime Vanguards update, which added Gilgamesh, Lancer, I don't know who Ishtar is, Archer, Saber, and a bunch of them, right? So they added a bunch of stuff this update. This is when they added their own Infinity Castle. They added a bunch of new items that are craftable, and they added some balancing stuff as well, and they added some of the most overpowered units in the banner, although I'm not really seeing it. The banner units honestly kind of suck, but whatever. Anyway, that's all we need to go through with those. So we'll start. Last Stand probably has the worst. They just haven't done anything. They haven't really been valuable. Anime Adventures, I'd probably have to put second, and Vanguards would probably go first, just from the sheer amount they added, right? But now that I'm looking at it, none of the Fate updates across any of the game were all that crazy. So, yeah. All right, next we have the Bleach updates, which these are going to be very simple. We'll start with Last Stand. This, in my opinion, the Bleach updates are Last Stand's best updates they've ever had. The event they had in this was super fun. The game modes they added were great. All the units were worth grinding for, right? Like, this was actually an update. They added so much quality of life stuff as well, which is great. I can't even go over everything they added. But they added a bunch of stuff. Like, this was by far Last Stand's best update they've ever had. It's been the most fun, it's been the most engaging, and it's been the most worth it, right? So, yeah, by far their best update, so not much else to say there. Alright, next we'll move on to Anime Adventures. So the first one is from Update 3, which added a bunch of units, some limited units, but overall this also was pretty big for quality of life stuff in Anime Adventures. And stuff in tower defenses that are just normal now, like if a game doesn't have, it's like, what the hell? Like, for example, auto ability and stuff like that. Quests to do within the game to get gems and stuff like that. So yeah, this is where it all started. That was actually not in games before this, which is kind of crazy. Their other Bleach update added a new legend stage, I believe. They added relics as well, which were great, or new relics, I should say. And they added new units. One was decent, and then with the second part, they added Aizen and Yamamoto, which both were good as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that update. And then finally we have Vanguards, which added a bunch of stuff. They added the Love Shop and Rifts as well. They also added the Love Portals, and they added a bunch of units. some of which are good, some of which are bad, some of which make no sense, like how Orihime is broken to this day, like she's broken right now, doesn't work properly. Still haven't fixed her. I don't understand that. Ichigo is great as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about these updates. So with that being said, Last Stand takes number one pretty easily. That is by far their best update. And Anime Adventures will have to go last, that leaving Vanguards in second, right? So that is probably the best. Also, I just realized I forgot to grab the picture for the next update, but I'll get to that in a moment. But anyway, yeah, the Bleach updates for Anime Adventures, honestly not all that great. The Vanguards one was pretty good. Not a big fan of the Love event at all, especially because it went away immediately. Like, we still have the Winter event, which it's summer, by the way. Just leaving that out there. And Last Stands, that was their only 10 out of 10 update, in my opinion. Alright, next we have the Dragon Ball update. So as you can see, there's 3 for Last Stand, 3 for AA, 1 for Vanguards. And we're going to get started with the Vanguards one, which, in my opinion, is a terrible update. This update was honestly bad. They added a lot of new stuff, but a lot of new stuff that wasn't good. Like, they added Odyssey, which still doesn't really feel all that worth it. And then they added, what's it called? Their new story gimmick, which I think is stupid. The story should be possible to do for everybody who's actually playing the game. You should not need to bring certain units to complete the story. So I thought that was dumb. And then to make things worse, it is so difficult to do the story and the legend stages, right? All that for the Battle Pass unit at tier 25 to be better than all of them. This update was stupid in my opinion. There was no point in this, because if you just want to get the best unit, right, say you were just playing to get good units to help you, you wouldn't even do the new stuff. You wouldn't even care to grind for the new thing, right? You would just AFK level till you level up in the Battle Pass, which is what I've been doing, because I don't really, the rest of the units aren't that good. You know, I mean, they're decent, right? But why would you grind that when the Battle Pass units are better? So anyway, just a stupid update, in my opinion. And then next we have the first Anime Adventures update, which was a raid, I believe. Yeah, so it was a raid. This update added Trunks and Cell and a new raid with a limited time unit. This update wasn't amazing or anything, because it was just a raid, and raids were still sucking back then. But it did add Cell, and Cell was very good for a very long time, so it was solid. Next, we have the Buu Saga raid, which added a new mechanic, which was fusion between Vegeta and Goku, and they added Kid Buu, a limited unit who was very, very good. And the raid was very fun. Also dropped Relic Shards as well. Just a pretty solid update. Can't say anything bad about it. Then we have Frieza Invasion, which was a pretty bad update, to be honest. It added a new raid. That was pretty much it. Golden Frieza was okay, don't get me wrong, but the Vegeta they added, not that good. Piccolo, not that good, and trade value was not that high either for him. So that was kind of a mid update when it came to that. Alright, now we have Last Stand. We have their first Dragon Ball update, which this was still when it was being run by the previous owner, who sucked. And this update, as you can imagine, was terrible. Not a good update. Nothing really added to the game that made it better whatsoever. Just a bad update, not good at all. Then next we have the other Dragon Ball update, which didn't really add much either. I believe Goku Black is good and Trunks are good, but the Zamasu wasn't that great, and they really didn't add anything else to the game other than like unit manager and auto upgrade, level milestones, and yeah, nothing great though. And then they had the part 2. Oh, sorry, I had these in the wrong order. Then they had the part 2, which once again, not a good update. A lot of these units were buggy. They made no sense. They received random buffs and are changed all the time. It's just overall not a really good update. It didn't add too much. The rewards were not very rewarding. The units going forward was not very good, right? So with that being said, we can rank the final ones, which, by the way, before we do that and end this, I just want to say it is kind of crazy how the updates do not overlap, really. I mean, AA has had about 40 updates to 50. Last Stand has had 50 updates. And, of course, Vanguards has only had, like, 5. But there's only, like, what, 3 or 4 that overlap? So, yeah, I don't know. And not to sound like a hater, but think Vanguard's is the one lacking there because some of their updates don't really make sense. But anyway, let's continue. Vanguard's easily the worst. Just, is it the worst? They did add a lot of stuff. It's just not good. No, I'd probably say it's the second best. AA is going to take the top spot because none of these were bad. And then Last Stand is going to go last because two of these for sure are definitely pretty bad, and then one of them is mid at best, right? So that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the summer ends. And yeah, leave any suggestions down below if you have any. Have a good day. I hope you enjoyed.